Welcome everybody to the Kimball Hooker Show. I'm your guest. I'm the host, Kimball Hooker, here in Los Gatos, Montessorino. We have our special guest here today. I'm so excited, Mr. Leon Joyce Jr. There's so much to talk about. I don't want to talk too much about it. I want him to explain and talk and kind of lay out his foundation where he started. We're going to go through his beginnings, the middle, and where he's presently at currently right now. But I'm so excited because for y'all that don't know, I'm a drummer as well. So this is real personal for me. So we're going to dive right in. Mr. Leon Joyce Jr.
How you doing, Kimball?
Oh my goodness, man. I'm excited. Are you excited to be here?
I truly am.
All right. We got a lot to cover because, you know, you go back so many, I'd say decades.
Yes.
Decades. And so for people that don't know, I think most do, but for those that don't know, we're speaking to a living legend right here. A legend. And I say that with everything I trust in music.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of people that, you know, admire you and they call you a mentor.
Yes.
And I'm not speaking of the ones you know. There's people that don't know where, you know what I mean? They
Right.
follow you,
Yeah.
and they've learned from you, and you're their favorite musician. I didn't even say drummer.
Right.
Musician.
And I get that a lot.
Yeah.
People say, when they come up to me and talk to me sometimes, they say, you play those drums like you're a musician.
Yeah.
You know, and but it makes me feel good.
Right.
Because
right.
I'm giving them something that people are not accustomed to hearing this instrument played in a musical setting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Application.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so you and I met about a decade ago now.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of watching you play live, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. You know, the one thing I took from you when I saw you play myself is it's like you making love to that instrument, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
It's like it's home for you, you know.
It is.
And I didn't feel like, oh, he's playing some drums.
Right.
You know, it's like you make it your own, the creativity you put behind it. Who were some of your inspirations, you know, I guess growing up, or people that you admired?
Oh, shucks, drawing blanks on names now. They'll come to me.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So what years were we
so
talking?
many.
What years were we talking? Like
60s,
okay,
70s.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Names are escaping me right now,
That's okay.
but they'll come to me.
What area are you? Where are you from?
Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're from
born and
Connecticut.
raised in Connecticut.
All right.
Had 2 private instructors.
All right.
And the first of which started me at the age of 7
Oh my goodness.
and took me till I was about 14 years old. And then the second private instructor I had, he took me from 14 to 16. And he said he couldn't teach me anymore. He wanted to send me to New York and study with Billy Cobham.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was playing his material at the age of 16.
Well, now I have to cut you off on this. Now I know where his left hand came from. I never seen nobody's left hand rattle like that.
Yeah,
But since you said the age 7,
Yes.
I understand why mine don't work like his.
Right.
I get it now.
Yeah. I'm seeing faces that get back to your original question, but they'll come out, my mentors and inspirations.
Right.
And a lot of them, I really didn't get to hear them play until I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And got exposed to recordings, you know, cats that were following the recordings of the music that I was playing all of my life.
What kind of music are we talking?
Big band,
Okay,
jazz,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
I would say the second musical unit that I played in my life was a big band, jazz band in 6th grade.
Right.
But I started out in drum corps in elementary school in 4th and 5th grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
part of an experimental program that was in my hometown, and there was like 9 different elementary schools, and I was one of 2 that were selected for this particular music program.
Okay.
So my school was called Jonathan Trumbull and elementary, and I played in there. That was my first musical unit.
This was in Connecticut.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
So I had a snare drum
Okay.
and taught me the snare drum riff, for the cadence.
Okay.
And that was it. And then whatever songs we were playing, I had to learn the drum part for it.
Got it.
So I did that for 2 years.
Okay.
And then when I got into middle school, 6th grade and all, then that's when things started to evolve for me as far as playing behind the drum set and playing with musical units.
Wow.
And things. So
Got it.
I was a guest artist with a band called the Quantitones.
The Quantitones.
Which
Okay.
was made up of high school and college students.
Okay.
And my first private instructor was the director of the band, and he brought me into that band
Right.
very early.
Okay.
So I had the capabilities and all. So I was a guest artist with them from 6th grade until I became the drummer for that band when I got in high school.
Okay.
And all through high school. So
You sound like a prodigy. You was a drum tech. It sounded like you came through storming. The memory, the hands, the skills.
Yes.
And
yes.
People saw it in you.
Yeah.
They did. That's why they
did.
kept giving it to you.
And folks just kept handing me from one person to the next. So when I got to junior high school,
Right.
Man's name was Mr. Jarvis. He came looking for me, got me out of one of my classrooms, and asked me to come down to the band room and all. And he gave me a little audition to see, if I could read music and stuff, because I guess the word was getting out about me.
Prodigy.
And all.
Mm-hmm.
And I passed the audition, and I became a member of the concert band there and the marching band in junior high school.
That was big then.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, so let's transition here. So now that you're a part of this concert band and you were hand selected by thank you, Mr. Jarvis, by the way, for recognizing, understanding a prodigy at that time.
Yeah.
So now you're positioned in this important role. How did that turn into you, like doing recordings and things like that, playing with other like upright bass players and piano players and being a part of like a trio?
Well, that again, you ask me about trios, but I actually start out in big bands with with a drum set.
Got it.
But I was also doing things outside of the Quantitones, where there was a musician that came to town from West Virginia.
Okay.
And some kind of way he found out about me, and he was putting a funk band together and asked me to play with him. Now, I was like in junior high school, barely a teenager and all. And he asked me to be his drummer, and that's how things kind of started on small ensemble, settings and things like that. But the jazz thing, that probably came later on in high school. When I was actually doing jazz trio type things. Still wasn't doing any recordings at that time.
Oh, okay.
But I was performing with a lot of different groups. Started doing in high school. My sophomore year of high school, I was asked by a college theater group to be their drummer and tour with their theater group for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Doing the Broadway musical Hair.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was big.
Yes. They contacted me. Again, my name was being handed from, person to person. The director of the pit band for Hair was a member of an Army National Guard band, which one of the choir directors at the high school was a member of.
Okay.
And this gentleman approached him and said, "I need a drummer for my band and stuff." And my name popped up in the conversation.
Right.
They made a phone call, called the house. I thought it was a prank joke, because they were asking me, to
Right.
tour in Massachusetts and Connecticut with this theater group.
Right.
So I said, "Well, you need to talk to my father about this." So I called my father in, and he came and talked to me. He said, "This sounds like they're legit. You want to do it?" I said, "Absolutely." So I had one rehearsal with them,
Oh, wow.
and then I went on the road with them for 3 weeks.
After one rehearsal,
One rehearsal.
prodigy, like I said.
One rehearsal, and then the first week we were up at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst at the college there, and we stayed there at the campus for a week. And then from there we went to University of Connecticut for a week, and then the third week we were at a high school in Hartford, Connecticut.
Got it. Yeah.
So again, it wasn't small ensemble stuff, but it was you know a larger a pit band.
A pit band, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are either of your parents musicians? Did you come from a musical
No.
family, or?
No, my mother did some singing.
Okay.
My father wasn't a musician at all, but
Really?
he was a big jazz enthusiast. So
Okay.
he was playing Miles Davis and modern jazz quartet
Okay.
things throughout the house
Okay.
on
All
a
right.
regular basis. He loved his music.
He loved music, but
Yeah.
he wasn't a musician.
No,
Okay.
no.
And you have brothers and sisters,
I have two sisters.
and are they musicians?
My sisters played music for a bit, but they were dancers before they became musicians,
Okay.
and they stuck with the dancing and kind of left the musician thing alone.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. You know, so it's just in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
in you. So let's transition from there then. So now you're on tour, right? You were out there for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
right? How did that change you? Like, what did you learn from that?
Well, it was. I got to learn how to be a musician on the road, and nobody believed I was 16 years old.
Right.
Again, they were all college students.
Right.
And all, so they were amazed by my level of maturity. To say I was 60 years old, and I had just got my driver's license, so that's how I was able to prove to them,
Right.
that I
You had
was
some proof.
I was 16.
Right. You have some
So I'm
proof.
pulling my driver's license out. They said he really is 16. But
Right.
they still didn't believe it, but it taught me how to live on the road, be on time.
Mm-hmm.
Have myself prepared
Right.
for whatever came my way.
Right.
And that's I can't thank my parents enough for getting me to private instructors,
Right.
so I could learn how to read music.
It paid off.
My father asked me, he said, "Well, do you want to play this instrument?" And I said, "Yes." And my father said, "You're going to have to learn how to read." I said, "Okay." And I can't thank him enough.
Right.
It's opened so many doors for me. Allowed me to go in the Marine Corps for 21 years as a musician.
Right.
And, I had to read then, take an audition and reading all kinds of jazz music, marching music, and symphonic music for that audition, in addition to demonstrating the basic 13 basic rudiments.
Right.
For
Right. I love it.
drums.
Just to hear you express that, about the faith that your mom and dad, or your father anyway, that you had in you to be able to play music, believe in you, support you,
Yeah.
and be someone to a force that they can you can talk to them about being supported. Because I think half the time that's most of the problem is if you don't have support, what do you do if you're a child?
True.
And you trying to build and do something and you
Yeah.
want to be creative,
Yeah.
you need someone that's going to be supportive of that.
Very much so. And my parents both were
supported you.
very supportive.
That's big.
I was in the newspaper all the time for all kinds of things.
All kinds of things, yes.
Musical things, achievements at the Boys Club. I
Right.
received the John F. Tylunis Award. It was
Wow.
a big award from the Boys Club, and they had a dinner for me and presented me with a blazer that had a embroidered John F. Tylunis. I don't know what you call it, kind of a patch type
Right.
thing
Right.
that was on the blazer. So I was blessed.
Right,
I was
right.
really blessed.
Okay, so transitioning from there, we were speaking earlier. How did Chicago come into the mix?
I had retired from the Marine Corps and was living in South Carolina for a little bit, and was there about 9 months, and then left South Carolina and migrated to Chicago,
Okay.
not really knowing anybody there in the music world, anything. I had a friend that I had known there and stuff, and moved there. And again, when people found out that I was in town, then they just started passing my name. Once I got out there and let folks know that
Right.
I'm here and this is what I'm bringing to the table.
Right.
then the word got out real quick.
You had a lot of favor.
Yeah, I was in Chicago about 30 days when I got my first gig.
Wow.
And then I was working the rest of the time, the 12 years that I was there. And 3 years after there was so many opportunities and organizations that I was a pleasure of being a member of. The University of Chicago Ensemble Stop Time.
That's where you went? U of M?
No, I didn't attend any university.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was all. I was I went into the Marine Corps 10 days after I graduated from high school.
Oh, got it. Okay. 10 days.
Yeah, I was in boot camp.
Wow.
Because the recruiter that had recruited me was trying to get me into the fall class that was coming up in September.
Right.
And I graduated from high school in June.
Right.
So that whole summer, I was at Parris Island, South Carolina, in boot camp.
In boot camp.
Yep.
Wow.
Learning the Marine thing.
Wow.
And so in September, I attended the Armed Forces School of Music.
Okay.
Yeah, there in Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. All
and
right.
Marines, Navy, and Army attend that school.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Wow. That's a whole lot to swallow right there. Okay. So I wanna dip right into like some of the work that you've actually done, some of these CDs. I mean, can we talk about some of the work that you've done here? It's so much to explain. I just let you kind of have at it in terms of some of the projects that you dealt into.
Sure. These that I was able to get my hands on on my way here were projects that I had done with Ramsey Lewis. 3 years after I was living in Chicago, Ramsey Lewis called me at my home.
Wow.
And asked me to sub for he had given me 4 dates at that time.
Okay.
And that was just before 9/11 happened.
Before 9/11, okay.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks before 9/11 happened. And prior to that, I had been working with Ramsey Lewis's bass player around town with other musicians. And a number of people were telling me that Larry was talking to, his name was Larry Gray.
Okay.
Larry had been talking to Ramsey about me, playing in the trio. So I said, okay. And I've been hearing it, but nobody had given me a phone call.
Okay.
So that particular year, Larry and I had done a 4th of July gig. And I said, Larry, people keep telling me that, you've been talking to Ramsey. He said, yeah, I mentioned your name to Ramsey a couple of times. And said, he's never called me. I said, well, bring it up to us again. So about a couple of weeks after that, I got a phone call.
Right. Right.
It was Ramsey, and he had 4 gigs for me to do. And I said, yes, sir. I'd be.
How old are we talking now?
Let's see. I got out of the Marine Corps. I was 38. So I was, 41?
Got it.
Yeah.
That's the first time you ever played with him?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
First time. He didn't know me from Adam.
Wow.
He was strictly going on his recommendation from his bass player.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he gave me the call, and the first 2 of the gigs went away because 9/11 happened. And it was Meant to Be CD, which I don't have a copy of, but Meant to Be, and that was with Nancy Wilson.
Nancy Wilson, okay.
And they had just finished recording Nancy Wilson's tracks for that CD before 9/11 happened.
Right. Okay.
So Ramsey still had to do his tracks for that CD, the trio tracks for the CD, and Ramsey said, "I need to get a drummer, for this, because his drummer that he had at the time was touring with another artist."
Okay.
And he wasn't in, and the recording company was applying some pressure, said, we need to get this project done.
Right,
And
okay.
all. So Ramsey was asking around town, and everybody was saying, get Leon Joyce,
Right.
Leon Joyce. So after he had giving me the gigs to sup with him, he called me and said that 2 of them went away because of 9/11. And then he said, but the other 2, I still want you to play. I said, okay, I'll keep them on my calendar. And then about a week or so after that is when he called me to finish his CD, Meant to Be.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
The timing on that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again,
it worked out.
He still had heard me play a lick.
All word of mouth.
It's just word of mouth. So I had my first rehearsal with him after he had asked me to do the recording.
Right.
And we were start to rehearse the material for the CD and for the show, the first show that I was going to do with him, which was in Phoenix.
Right.
So we go in and we do the a gentleman had written a song that he wanted Ramsey to record on this particular project, and Ramsey wanted to check it out. So it's a new song for Ramsey. It's nothing that he's done or anything, and we go in and into the studio.
Right.
And there was a bunch of cameras in the studio. I was like, so what's with all the cameras? Well, the local television station was doing a story on Larry Gray.
Oh.
That particular day.
Right.
So they were in the studio with us.
Okay.
For our rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
So their cameras like right now, and they were doing a story on Larry, and we were running through this original song. And we got everything worked out, and Ramsey says, okay, Leon, you got it. I'm like, sir? He said, do an open solo, and then when you had enough and stuff, bring the band in. So
wow.
I'm like,
and how many rehearsals prior?
We just that day.
Oh my goodness.
And this is a new song,
Right.
Ramsey doesn't know anything about this. This is a brand new song that was penned by a guitarist from, Chicago.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So I start doing, my thing and all, and I did about 30 seconds worth of stuff. And then I brought the band in. We're in the song, and we get to the end of the song, and there was a little hiccup that we had to work out. So we worked out the hiccup, and Ramsey says, okay, you got it. And he wanted me to do it again, open solo, in front of this song. And we played through the whole thing, and it was done. He was very happy with what I did.
Wow.
And he gets up from the piano, he says, this guy's going to be a star.
Oh my goodness.
And he leaves the studio for about 20 minutes. And I'm looking around, wondering, what's going on. And he comes back in, and we finished the rehearsal. And that was my first day with Ramsey Lewis.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That set the tone for the rest right there.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Listen, I'm here with Mr. Leon Joyce Jr. We are going to take a short break, and we will be right back. We're going to continue and pick up where we left off here at KCAT, Montessorino, Los Gatos.
Thank you to the City of Montessorino for their continued support of KCAT Public Media. The City of Montessorino has enabled KCAT to inspire, educate, entertain, and inform our community through the magic of television and digital media for over 38 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kimball Hooker Show. I'm your host, Kimball Hooker, with my special guest, Mr. Leon Joyce Jr., and we're going to continue this interview, but we have a whole lot to cover right now, so just stay tuned while we dig right in on this. I want to talk about some of these concerts that you've done here in Los Gatos and some of the artists that you played with.
Well, I've had the pleasure of doing the Los Gatos Jazz Fest.
Oh, wow. That's big here.
Yes. So the first time I did it was with Ramsey Lewis when I was in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
And we had come here, and it was like 2009, 2010, and we had a great time.
Right.
Great time. We, if I remember correctly, we did something here at the park but there was a mansion that we had to play out there too. Somebody that was affiliated with all of this. We did another thing at another location here in Los Gatos.
Okay.
But yeah, I had the opportunity to do this festival numerous times. Well, one time with Ramsey, and then I've been here a number of times with Sister Monica.
I remember her. Right.
Yes, I was her last drummer before she made her transition.
Right.
And then I've been here a number of times with Jamie Davis.
Jamie Davis, right. What was the one you did in 2009?
That was with Ramsey Lewis.
That was with Ramsey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other ones were after 2012.
Okay.
So I moved here permanently from Chicago.
That was home then. At
Yeah.
that time. Okay.
Yes. Right. With Jamie Davis, Tiffany Austin.
Wow. Legends.
Yeah. A number of folks.
And all that's still word of mouth.
Yes. Well, once I got here.
Right.
And then Jamie Davis kind of latched on to me, so I became his drummer when he was doing things locally and in California.
In California. Okay.
Yeah.
So you traveled a little bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Destiny Muhammad?
Yes. Destiny Muhammad.
I just want to give a shout out to Destiny Muhammad, who was here prior. She loves you, by the way. As I do.
I would have never guessed. That's my baby sister.
Right. You got to talk on that.
Yeah, my little sister.
Sprinkle some love on her.
Met her shortly after I moved here permanently from Chicago, and I moved here in January of 11. So I think I met Destiny sometime in 2012. Up in Chicago, in the Fillmore, there was a location there that was doing jazz presentations. I think it was Saturday afternoons.
Right.
And the local musicians would gather there, and also by that time, I had already been connected with Jamie Davis, Roger Glenn.
Wow.
And a number of Calvin Keys.
Right. I remember Calvin.
Yeah, Calvin, and a number of other folks.
Right.
From the area. And
that's a heck of a lineup, by the way. I mean, just that right there says the caliber of talent that you were around playing with, and the people that admired you.
Yes.
And trusted your musical talents and abilities.
Yes.
That says a lot right there.
Thank you. Yeah. So I met Destiny at one of the last functions they had there before this particular location had stopped doing their jazz thing. And she asked me if I would be interested in playing with her ensemble.
Right.
And I looked at her, and I saw that she had a harp. I said, well, that's going to be something new for me to embark on. So I said, I accepted the gig.
Right.
And I told her that day, I said, because of the nature of your instrument, if you don't mind, I intend to do everything that I will be bringing to the trio with brushes.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I guess she didn't really know what I was talking about until she actually got the opportunity for me to play with her. And she and her husband really, really love what I bring to the table with it, for her, because I use 5 different types of brushes.
5 different types of brushes?
Yes. They're different weights. I use wire. I use 2 different weight of plastic brushes.
Right.
I use a wood brush, and there's another type of brush, which is another filament. So I can get the different textures.
Right.
I can still give her the intensity and play everything that she needs, but it's not overshadowing her instrument, the harp. Even though it is mic'd and all, she and the bass player are mic'd and all, and they have me mic'd two overheads and a bass drum.
Okay.
So everybody's on the same plane. But yeah, I have only played with brushes with her the entire time, and we've gone into the studio. We've done a CD that was released. Let's see, this is January. in December.
December of 24.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes. And
Where can they find that at? Is that on
believe
Spotify? Is that on?
I believe so.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Go check it out. Also, just real quick, can you please drop a plug for yourself? Where can Leon Joyce Jr. be found?
My website is being revamped, but for the most part, it's functional at leonjoycejr.com.
All right.
Yeah. And
Just like it sounds, right? LeonJoyceJr.com.
Yep.
.com.
Leon Joyce Jr.
Everyone, go there, check him out. If you have anyone you want to recommend for this man, or go see his website or his calendar dates, or check him out and where he's been, it's worth it, especially for musicians out there, but anyone who finds this man talented, which everyone does. So, right. I want to know more about so you did all these concerts, Ramsey Lewis and so many others, right?
Yes.
How did you transition from that into, because you said you were doing like trio work as well, right, with your own?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, me being in the Marine Corps, we had the main units were the marching band, the symphonic band, and the big band, jazz band. So those were the three main units. But depending on the talent that you had in any one of those bands, the smaller units would be developed. So I was always a member of the smaller jazz ensembles that would do, we would play at concerts.
Okay.
And sometimes we would get hired out to do other things, separate from the Marine Band and all. And there would be times where the general or the base or the chief of staff would have house parties and they wanted live music.
Right, okay.
So I would bring a quartet or quintet to the general's or the major's house.
Right.
And we provide music for their house parties.
Okay.
And stuff. So I got to, do a lot of that.
Right.
In the Marine Corps. So the trio thing, after I got out of the Marine Corps, then I started putting my own units together.
Oh, got it.
In Chicago, I put together a guitar trio. I noticed that all the ancestors before me, they always had piano trios.
Okay.
And I didn't want to follow that suit. I wanted to do something different.
Something different.
So I had a killing guitar trio in Chicago. Curtis Robinson on guitar and Chuck Webb was on bass.
Chuck Webb.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What was the name of that? What was the name of that ensemble? That trio?
Leon Joyce Trio.
Leon Joyce Trio.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we developed a reputation in Chicago. We got quite a bit of work and things. And then Curtis was doing some other things. He was on staff at one of the universities and put a quartet together. We added a piano player to my trio.
Right.
And you can find some clips of that on YouTube. You can either go to Leon Joyce Jr., a tribute to Wes Montgomery.
Right.
And I have like 5 segments of that on YouTube, or you can go to Curtis Robinson, and I think he's got the whole concert on his website.
So a lot of these concerts that you're mentioning, like with Ramsey Lewis, all that can be found online, like YouTube. There's links to this stuff.
Yes.
To these concerts.
There's no links to any Ramsey Lewis television program that he did for Legends of Jazz.
Legends of Jazz. All right.
Legends of Jazz that Ramsey had originally done in Washington, D.C. before my time with him. But when I was with a member of the trio, they were doing it there in Chicago.
Right.
So Legends of Jazz, I did the Golden Horns that had Clark Terry, Chris Bodie, and Roy Hargrove.
Chris Bodie
on that show, and both Clark and Roy Hargrove are no longer with us.
Right.
Chris Bodie's still there. And I did the altos that had David Sanborn and
we just lost David Sanborn.
Yes. Yeah. David Sanborn and there was another gentleman on alto, and then I also did the tenor show that had Chris Potter, Marcus Strickland,
Okay.
and Benny Golson.
Oh, got it. Okay.
On
All right.
that program. And then there was one more, the NCA recipient show that I did. So all of that you can find out there, Legends of Jazz.
The Legends of Jazz. Everyone go Google that. Everyone go Google Leon Joyce Jr. Everyone go to his website. We're out of time. But guess what? You've enjoyed Mr. Leon Joyce Jr. I have. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here at KCAT in Los Gatos, Montessorino. I'm your host, Kimball Hooker, and we'll see you guys next time.
You just heard the Kimball Hooker Show here on KCAT Radio. Explore all our KCAT original programming at kcat.org/radio.